Hey everyone, welcome back to the final episode of the Jedok Geom series, where we explore the Admiral sword, a Korean Joseon Dynasty sword form. Now if you haven't seen our previous videos, please check them out up above. So today we'll be talking about the special forms of Jedok Geom, and these are essentially the dressed up flowery forms of Jedok Geom which are done for show, usually at banquets and the like. And so there's two of these forms, which are the Shikkum Sajukse, the drawing the sword while watching the enemy posture, which is essentially a resheathing posture, and then there's the Jangum Kayongse, which is the hidden sword posture, which is a powerful punch in the sword form. And so I'll show you how the Koreans do these forms, but I personally don't think there's much benefit to doing them these ways, except for impressing your friends. And then I'll show you the practical way that I think that they would have been done by Admiral Lee Rusong when he wasn't trying to do them for show, so without the flare and the flash. So for the first form, we've got the Shikkum Sajukse, the drawing the sword while watching the enemy posture. And essentially this form aims to resheathe your sword and clean the gunk off the blade without dying essentially. So you want to stay vigilant for enemy attacks while you clean your sword. And so in the Korean form, then you start in left back stance, and you transition to a single hand reversed right hand grip. And then your left hand acts as a strut on your left knee. From there then you use the right hand to wipe the sword on the upper arm of the left hand. And then you do a 360-degree spin. So you step 180 degrees to the front and you do a right hand horizontal cut to the left in reverse grip. Then you complete your spin by doing a 180 degrees to the back and you change hands to a left hand reverse grip and you land back in your left back stance or left horse stance. And from there then your right hand acts as the strut on the right knee and your left hand cleans the other side of the blade on the right upper arm sleeve. Now on a battlefield then you don't necessarily have to take your sheath onto the battlefield from camp. You can leave your sheath at camp. And in fact it's probably wise to, because then the sheath doesn't get in your way. And so the sword in the left hand in reverse grip sort of signifies the end of combat. So you don't need to do the actual resheathing on the battlefield and you can take it home to resheath. But the main point is that you get rid of all of that gunk on the sword because you don't want that drying on your blade and making it harder to clean later. So in this way then you've resheathed with the tip pointing forward, so you prevent enemy attack coming from the front and you haven't died while cleaning the gunk off the blade. So mission accomplished, go home and resheath it. Now, I personally don't see the point in practicing the form with all of the spins except to impress your friends. So I'll talk about how I think it should be done and also how I think Admiral Lee Rusong probably would have done it. So how I do it is I start in right back stance or right horse stance and you transition the grip from a two-hand grip into a one-hand left-handed grip, either as a reverse grip or a normal grip. I prefer the normal grip. And then the right hand goes to the right knee and acts as a strut, and you wipe the sword on the upper arm of the right arm. Then you transition grips to the right hand as a single hand, either normal or reverse grip, and then you do the same. You wipe the sword on the left upper arm with the left hand acting as a strut on the left knee. And then from there, then you grab the mouth of the sheath and you flip it upwards and then you resheath normally. Now, if you're not on a battlefield, then you could just do the resheath if your sword isn't particularly dirty. But if you do need to clean off, then this is a good way to do it. Now, in this way, then you dissuade attacks from the front by keeping the sword pointed forwards, and you still have vigilance and awareness, and you're in a position where you can attack without the pointless spins. And I personally always look when I resheath because I don't think the risk of cutting open my hand is really worth the feeling of looking cool or the historical accuracy of staying vigilant while resheathing, but practice how you will. So now we come to the Jangum Kayongse, the hidden sword posture. And in the Korean form, it follows on from the Shikkum Sajukse. So in left back stance with the sword in reverse grip in the left hand, then the sword comes to the front and hooks the enemy, and then you step into a right long stance and you deliver a powerful punch to the body with the fist up, because it comes from Chinese martial arts where fist up was more traditionally done. Now, there's two ways to look at this form. The first is that this is the actual form itself and this is how it should be practiced. And the second is that this is one of many forms, and it's a reminder to still practice unarmed martial arts, even as a sword wielder. And I personally like this one because I think that this form by itself probably is alluding to that rather than being its own form. But for this particular form, then I think it should be done unarmed, and it's aiming to teach you how to move so that if you are unarmed against an armed opponent, you still have somewhat of a chance. And so it's an all or nothing risk, high reward, and you dash forward and you use the left hand to block the enemy's wrists to prevent them from striking at you, and you quickly step forward into their space, out of their sword's range, and you deliver a powerful punch very quickly. And so you risk it all, but the goal is not to die and to disable your enemy. So that's it for today's episode, and also for the series. I hope you like learning about Jedok Geom, because I personally quite enjoy this form and I've been practicing it for the last 2 years, and I wanted to share it with you guys, as well as my interpretation that I've been building up since April of 2020. Now, as always, if you're new to the form, please practice things safely using a bokken, and if you haven't checked out our document down below, please do check it out. In it you'll find the Jedok Geom form as it's practiced in Korea in more detail than other English translations of 무예도부 통지, as well as my own personal interpretation of the form. And I typed this up so that it would be more accessible to the English speaking community, so the document is completely free, and please do share it with your friends so that Jedok Geom can be learnt by everyone. So with that, that's it for the Jedok Geom series. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for following us through this series, exploring the Admiral sword. And with that, I'll see you in my other videos.